בכל קריאת שמע. It's on. This guy should not there. So went to collect money. They can't do that. No, it's not. No. I don't see it here.
Yeah, it's a makom kavua. Okay, Rabbi say good to see everyone back.
Good to
After
see special oreach.
Ah. Hilchos Krias Shema.
That's good, yes. No, better than that. Sure. What?
Hilchos Krias Shema, Amud Reish Chav Daled.
Yes.
Page Reish Chav Daled.
So,
Yeah.
Reish what?
Reish Chav, Amud Reish Chav Daled.
What happened to you? You said, real hollows, the depot, the fullness. לא הבנתי, למה כשיוסף בא בדיוק יעקב קורא משהו, speak English? היי, שאלה טובה, אני אגיד לך אחרי השיר, זה לא מאוד יפה.
Now, so we are holding Simin Samach Daled. Din Hatoya v'Kriyas Shema Boi Daled Sifim. Aleph, Kadol Mafreya Yatsa Shem Hayu V'Haviyasem Yehu. If someone read Kriyas Shema not in the order, he changed the seder, he's not Yoitza. The pasuk he learned, V'Hayu Hadvarim Eila. V'Hayu, these things should be the way they are. Med V'Amurim B'Seder Hapsukim. Hiktim Parsha V'Chaver Ta'af B'Sheni Rashoy Yatsa V'Sheni Smuchel Man HaTorah. There's a chiluk between psukim and parshia. If you missed a pasuk out, and I realized I forgot to say ukashartem, and I want to just mash them and say after bisharecha ukashartem a problem, I did it out of the seder. However, if I change the seder of the parashas, I read v'hoya before v'hafta, I'm yaitza b'diavad. Why? Because in the Torah itself, they're not together.
Right.
They're not in the same place.
They just put it in tefillah together.
Right.
That's it.
But so, since it's not together, it's not ma'akeh b'di'evid to change the state. If you change the state. Beis kara parsha v'taba, you read a parsha in Krias Shema. V'taba, you made a mistake in it. If you know where you made a mistake in Shata, call a parsha, if you remembered where you made the mistake, you read the whole parsha, you remember you skipped the pasuk. So what do? You can't read the pasuk here because it's not going to be in the order. It's going to be the mafreya. So you go back to the beginning of that pasuk, and then you have to read from then on. The goymer parsha. Shem yikra pasuk b'makom sheniske nimsa kar mafreya. Afil dilug teva achas or oisachas. Sheshina nakuda achas. The last Reisha Pasha. Even if you missed that one word, one letter, you changed in a kudis. You have to go back to that pasuk. Similar to Dina Krias HaTorah, he refers you to Alter Rebbe to Simin Kuf Mem Beis in the parentheses. Kuf Mem Beis is Hilchos Krias HaTorah. The same thing over there.
Once you make a mistake, you go to the other.
Yeah. But B'chalal, what it says over there, if you look over there, it's only when it changes the meaning.
Right.
Krias HaTorah, if someone said S instead of ace, or ace instead of S, it doesn't change the meaning. You don't have to go back. Meaning it's better, it's obvious you're supposed to read it the way it says in the Torah. But if you made a mistake and it's the same meaning, you don't have to go back.
Or if you said eight instead of eight, it's a different thing.
Huh?
Aleph and Ayin.
Right?
It's different
Go back to
meaning.
the beginning of the pasuk.
Right? Correct. So there are some times when people change the nikud, he doesn't change the pirush, and then you don't have to go back. For trup, you don't have to go back. You're not mechuyev to go back. So
Go back
So
every
yeah, you could go back. It's that they say that the Alter Rebbe went back for everything with makbid, even for the trup, but
when he was reading, he had a mistake, and he went back.
or he was makbid on others, but he was makbid even on a trup. But min hadin, if the person didn't say the right trup or they didn't change the meaning, they could continue going
Just
on.
speak the word and then continue.
Now, if you don't know where you made a mistake, you forgot, so you have to go back to the beginning of the pasuk where you had a suffix in. I know up until there for sure said, I'm just not sure I made a mistake somewhere here. If you have a suffix, you have to go back. I know for sure I said Shema. I remember I had Kavana when I said Shema. But I don't know where in Vahafta I made a mistake. So Chayza Vahafta. I'm not sure. Did I say Shema with Kavana? Chayza Shema. Because remember, Shema has to be said with Kavana. You're not Yoitza. If you don't say Shema with Kavana, you're not Yoitza.
That's why you have to understand the word of Shema.
That's why we're closing our eyes, we're putting our hand on we should concentrate. The reason why we're doing all these things is to help the Kavana. We should be able to say Krias. Remember, the whole Yiddishkeit, what's the main pasuk in the whole Yiddishkeit? Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. And what's the main word in that Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad? What's the key word? Echad. The Munah of Klal Yisrael Echad. And that's what Chassidus Chabad is, by the way, is all about explaining the word Echad. What does it mean, Hashem Echad? Achdut Hashem. It's a very big focus. The Mittel Rebbe, the Alter Rebbe's son, writes in the Hakdama to Imre Bina, introduction to Imre Bina. Rabbi have the sefer here, and he writes that my father, every Shabbos, would say Drushim and to be Dirish, and all the Inyan of every Shabbos, all his Maimarim and his Drushim, was in order to bring in the idea of Achdus Hashem. Every time Achdus this way, Achdus that way, this explanation, Achdus, it's all because we're trying to understand Hashem Echad. This is the Yisoid of Yiddishkeit.
How about Achdut the people?
If you have Achdus Hashem properly, you're going to have.
That's what we need. Achdut, everybody together.
Real Avat Yisrael, Achdus Hashem comes when you're a Maimin. If a person is not a Maimin, they could be a nice person naturally, a nice person, but the true Achdus comes only from a Maimin and Hashem. Many nice people in the world, nice people, but the Nekuda is that if you don't have Bittul, then you feel that you are important. You exist and you're important. And therefore, I come before someone else. And if I'm a nice person, but if that person stands in my way, you move him away. That's the way of the Goyim. The way of the Yidden is that you're maktin memaitin atzmam. Atam hama'at mikolam ma'atam memaitin atzmam. Klal Yisrael makes it so small and anova and bittul. The more bittul you have, the more you're ready to go to do something for someone else. A chesed, the more we're ready to go do something. We have to ma'or and awaken within ourselves the feeling that to put ourselves aside. That doesn't come so easy. We need to work on ourselves to it's easy to just scream out Hashem Echad. It's easy, the easy job. The hard job is really working on it. We're getting back over here to the halacha. In Gimel, a person is saying Shema. He said the first person with the Kavana, so he knows he was Yaitza, but now he's reading and he's not having Kavana, he's not thinking. He's not sure. Did I just finish Vayin Shemaya or did I finish V'Hafta? Choiz of the Siyum Parsha V'Shoina. You have to go back to Vayin Shemaya because maybe you just finished V'Hafta. If you have a suffix over here, you have to go back. Suffix the Reis of the Chumrah. Hoyoymed b'kasaftem ve'eni de b'kasaftem she Parsha V'Shoina. Im b'kasaftem Parsha Shniya. Choiz of Kasaftem Parsha V'Shoina. I'm saying the word v'kasaftem to myself, and it's at night. I'm not sure. This v'kasaftem from V'Hafta or kasaftem b'Hayin Shemay. There's two psukim of kasaftem. So you have to go back to the V'Hafta. Med when I'm shalai hischol man yibur yimeichem. Hischol man yibur yimeichem. Ein leilach Hashem hischol kain. Acher kasaftem b'Shoina. The Shastam, Kora, the top of page, Reish Chafei, Kefiri Gilusoi. If someone said L'man Yirbu, and now he says, maybe I really was saying the first of Ksaftem, V'Hafta, and then I put in L'man Yirbu, I jumped the whole parasha behind Shemaya, I skipped it. Alter Rebbe says, no, we're not choishish to that. Because normally when you read the order. If you're not sure, you must probably did it okay. Some in Mittamol's thinking, and then he feels I'm in the middle of Vahayin Shemaya. And he's like, he says V'chara, and then he's like, oh, how did I get here? Did I say before? We assume you said it up until now because Shigra Delishna. You're going by your Lashon, you're used to this. Most probably you're not mechuyev to go back. Simin Samachei Hanichnas L'Beis HaKnesses or Motzat Sibur Koyin Krias Shema. He found that the minion is in the middle of reading Shema. What should you do? Or you should hifsik b'shasaki, or someone made a hefsik in the middle. What's the din of hefsik in the middle of Krias Shema? Oboy Gimel Sifim. We have 3 Sifim in this Simin, and we have 2 big Sifim, the Aleph and Beis. Kore Sirugin. Someone read Shema Sirugin. What does that mean, Sirugin?
You come to a Tzil and you find him in Krias Shema. You're going to learn.
You're going to learn. What's Shaila?
So it's backwards, huh?
Sirug. Sirug.
Zigzag.
In Hebrew, there's the word Sirug, right?
Yes, Rugin. It's you read it, you stop.
It's in Lashon Koit in Ivrit, right?
It's Ivrit. It's Mamash Ivrit. In Yehuda.
Soreg.
No,
Soreg.
not Soreg. Soreg, it's sewing. You put together Lisrog sweater. Making sweater, it's called Lisrog.
What about when you have
a sign? You have a sign.
A Bedouin gives out a syrup. Somebody doesn't drop the Bedouin, they give out a syrup. A Bedouin gives out a syrup.
You said MSVAT,
Yeah.
and then you
Don't
read
show up
That's Rugin.
the Bedouin, they give
what does it mean Sirug? Skira means you skipped. In Lashon Kodesh, Soirig, there was a Soirig, it was one of the mechitzas around the Beis Hamikdash. It was called the Soirig. The Soirig meant it had like the mechitzas, the mechitzas, they have like these holes. It had like holes. It jumps one hole to the next hole. The Soirig. Skipping.
That's why in jail, they have the room that they have Soragim. Soragim, it's the pieces that
They call them
go out.
Soragim.
Soragim in Hebrew.
Okay, this comes from the same
They
place.
got it from here.
Yeah. You're reading Krias Shema, you stopped, whether you were quiet or whether you started to speak. And then you completed it. In middle of Shema, you made a hefsik. Afilu shah kadei ligmers kula yatsa. Even if you waited for a while, and it was the same time that it would take to say the whole Krias Shema, you made such a hefsik. Yatsa afilum haya hefsik machmas oines. Even if you were forced to interrupt, someone was telling you something, and you stopped and you listened, or you spoke. The same halach is when by Megillas Esther, The tkiya shayfer, middle tkiya shayfer.
I don't understand.
Tkiya shayfer, you blew a tkiya. Then you waited or you spoke. Then you heard the shvarim. You heard everything. You did all the tkiyas you have to, but you did not. In middle, there was hefsekin, sirugin. It's hefsekin. You spoke, you were quiet. You're yaitza. You heard all the tkiyas. You said the whole Shema. You heard the whole Megillah. Aber betfila ban Shemon Esrei, im shah k'dei ligmer skula meireish hatzayv salatz l'reish. Shemon Esrei is different. If in middle of Shemon Esrei you stopped, and you stopped the amount of time it takes to daven the whole Shemon Esrei, you waited. If you waited that long, you have to go again back to the beginning.
But I understand.
This is the first opinion.
I don't understand one thing. In Kriyat Shema, if somebody stopped and talk,
He's not allowed, but what if he did?
but he did, so he continue or he start from the beginning?
He continues. He can continue.
But it doesn't make difference what kind of dibur he has. He'll say, "Hi, how are you, Moshe?" In the middle of Shema. It's a problem.
We're gonna see. We're gonna see.
Well, back to-
Let's finish the sif. It's a good question. V'yei shoymim. Others say she'ein chiluk ben kriya shema l'tfila. No, there's no chiluk.
Uh-huh.
Ubechol makim im shah machmas oynes shemaf v'reitze shaloi lishes lahiyachol. It wasn't. He had to stop. Tzarich lachs l'reish. Have to go back to the beginning kriya shema. Im shah kli ligmas kul l'reish hatzayf. When you finish that hefsek, you have to go back to the beginning. Let's say you had to go to the bathroom, it was an emergency. So you went in the middle. It was an oinus. He couldn't stop. He had to go. And it took him time. He was there. It took time. Kedei ligmar skul meisef. The Kriyashma doesn't say it takes a long to say Kriyashma. So you go back to the beginning. V'leimi makim sheshaya. Umafsik bayad asayf. The dinner hefsik is not the amount of time from now to the ending. Let's say you're holding before B'hayim Shemaya. You don't say the hefsik is the amount of time it takes to stay B'hayim Shemaya v'yomer. No. Hefsik is determined by the entire Kriya Shema. You judge the span of time Reisha v'ad Soifa. Loimi makim sheshayim mafs b'ad Soif. M'sharim l'fi hakoyda lo l'fi adam. It's an individual based thing. Depending how you read. Some people read Kriya Shema slow, faster. How you normally read, that's the hefsek for you. The same din is even by Birchas Kriya Shema according to the second opinion. In middle of a bracha Kriya Shema, you waited the time it takes to finish it, not from the beginning to the end. To go to the beginning of that bracha. This is all when it's a oinus. It wasn't a oinus. If you want, you could have gone back to read. You stopped, but shaber etzayning. Behivsik ben bediber v'sik. Let's say you were learning. You learned the daf yomi. You looked at the daf. You weren't even speaking. Let's say b'shika. You looked at the daf. Hafilus man rav. Even if it's for a while. Ein tzach lachs l'makom shepasak. You only have to go back to the beginning, to where you stopped. The reason for the svara is, remember, this is all the second opinion. The first opinion holds that no matter what hefsik, it's not like tefillah. First sheet holds a chiluk in tefillah and Kriya Shema. Kriya Shema, you make any hefsik you want, how long you want, even if it's a oinus, you never go back to the beginning. The first sheet says. Kriya Shema is not like tefillah.
What is the club?
Second sheet says no. Kriya Shema is the same like Shemon Esrei. If you made a hefsik with an oinus that you had no choice, and you waited as a man it takes to daven to say the whole Kriya Shema, let's say it took 2 minutes for you. Now you waited 2 minutes, you have to go back to the beginning. You went to the bathroom, come back and say the beginning. Now the reason why the second sheet, which is more machmir, says even when I'm more machmir, it's only by an oinus, but not if it was beratzim. If in middle of Shemon Esrei, in middle of Kriya Shema, you decided to learn something, and you learned something for 2 minutes, even if you didn't speak, it's not a hefsik. And even if you spoke, it's not a hefsik. You're not supposed to do that, but it's not a hefsik. Why? Because you did it b'ratzon. What's in this b'ratzon oinus? What's the concept of hefsik? Hefsik means I tear myself away from this idea. I'm mufsuk from this. That's when you hefsik. I'm mufsuk. What's the whole svara mireisha at soifa? What's the sheer hefsik mireisha at soifa? Is there a svara to it, or it's just a random sheer? It's not just a random sheer. The hefsik of everything means, of every mitzvah means, when is it a hefsik? When I tore myself away from this mitzvah. The mitzvah Kriya takes you 2 minutes. When you wait 2 minutes, now you're mufsik from Kriya. You're separated from Kriya. If it was an oinus, it's nothing to do with me. It's not voluntarily. Then it's a hefsik. If I did it b'ratzin, it means it's like sort of like al tanai. I'm waiting, and I know I'm waiting. No one made me wait. I'm waiting because I decided to wait. So therefore, I'm not mufsik from it. I was never taken away from Kriya. I needed to do something. But as an oinus, you have no choice. You have your taka taken away from Kriya. That's the second shita. V'chein yesh linik halacha l'maisa. We should be machmer kikein ikr like the second shita, that we should treat Kriya like tefillah. And if there's an oinus and it took the amount of time, whether it's b'shsika, even if you didn't say one word, but let's say 2 minutes, you did something else, you stopped saying the words, it's not your fault. It was an oinus. You have to go back to the beginning.
הכלל אתה הולך לפי השני או לראשון?
בהלכה.
כן, הכלל הולכים בדרך כלל לפי השני.
כשיש שתי שיטות, וכאן הוא פוסק כמו השיטה השנייה.
זה לא יודע מה השיטה.
כן ניכר.
כן, לא, אבל בדרך כלל הולכים במאמר השני. בדרך כלל הולכים לפי השומרים השני.
וכאן כן הולכים לפי השני. כן יש לנהג הלכה למעשה כמו השני.
כן, אבל הוא מחלק בין...
The rule of Shulchan Aruch, the basis, is like the same rules as me.
Yeah, but the Shulchan Aruch is different. The Shulchan Aruch is like this. The Mechaber, B'Seisif, it depends how he brings it. What the rules. When he has two opinions, what is the... If he brings a stam, v'yesh oimim, halachic is stam, which means is, if he brings a shita and he doesn't say yesh oimim, he says this is the halacha, like what Alter Rebbe did here, by the way. Similar over here. He brings first the din. He says it's not like tefillah. Then he says yesh oimrim, it's like tefillah. If we would have this in the Mechaber, Stam yesh oimrim, and the Mechaber did not say who the halacha is like. Holchem lefi stam. But if he brings two yesh oimrims, yesh oimrim v'yesh oimrim, it's not so clear. It's not so clear.
Not so clear here or not so clear
in Shulchan Aruch of the Mechaber, what do we do? The two yesh oimrims.
Usually he's going with the second one.
So that could be. I don't remember. That's what Bavadia holds this way. It could be.
No, usually you're going with the second one.
Could be. And also I think is another time. Sometimes it says that if it says at Lashon Rabim, I remember clearly. Like one halacha that if it says Lashon Rabim,
like yes,
yeah, v'yesh oimrim. Yeah, I remember Rabbi Vadia got a certain din in Hilchos Shabbos and in Hilchos Bishul. There's two yesh oimrims there, and I think Tak is like the second one over there. I think I'm mistaken, but it's also a rabbin.
But it's the same shita, but
no, but over here he says clearly. Wherever the Mechaber says clearly, we know what he holds. Shiloh, when he don't say clearly, what do we do? Over here he said clearly. Kein Iker.
The Shulchan Aruch basis, you also say something like this, Chenika?
In this halacha?
Not here, but
not over here, no.
In general halacha, the basis to have this lashon.
Not really too much. I don't think so much. No. Usually he just says the halacha. Already later on, the Alter Rebbe is already including a lot of other poskim, so it's more complicated, more poskim.
Basically, the Alter Rebbe in the beginning went with the Walach b'dachel Magen Avraham.
I think the second opinion is the Ramah.
כן? כי בדרך כלל הפסקים של האלטר רבי הולכים לפי מגן אברהם, בדרך כלל.
כן.
אבל יש גם, אני יודע, מהדורה שנייה שלו, יש לו מהדורה שנייה גם.
Yeah, rak al ksat. Okay. What type of oinus is this? What type of oinus is this? So I started saying an oinus, let's say going to the bathroom. Well, Lamaisa, let's see what Alter Rebbe says. We're now learning the second half of Aleph. The oinus yesh oimrim afilu oinus listim oinus acher kol shaloi hayachol likas afilu mratza. Any oinus. Yesh oimrim she'eni chashav hefsek machmas oinus achla reish and okay lehaya lacha likris machma she'ish eni roi. Kushehis chulikis kishma meschilu mei raglav shetchoysin al birkov hutzach lahafsek at sheyichlu. He's walking and he's saying Shema. He's reading Shema. He went in an alleyway that's dirty. So stop. It's very interesting. He's machalik to Einstein. All right. I mean, Lamaisa, it's not so negeya, the other oinus. The oinus listim is Baruch Hashem not so negeya, if you had a listim oinus. But you understand that the svara the machlekes over here. The svara, the first shita is any oinus. The second shita says no. Only an oinus where the person can't read it. But if he ba'atzim could read it, he's roi, but there's a problem with
The area.
with the listim. Right? It's listim, so it's not a oinus in him, the Krias Shema. It's something to the listim. So ba'etzim, you're not mufsik from Shema. You're not mufsik from Krias Shema. Because you're not separated from it, because you ba'etzim could still read it. It's the listim that are holding you back. So we say sometimes in Gemara, there's a lion not allowing you to get there. But it's not pshat that you can't do a ba'etzim. Well, in halacha, Yesh misha oimer shebetfila afilu ba'oinus acher choyzel l'reish. Me'acher shesh oimer shefilu ba'oinus kal choyzel l'reish. So it depends on talking about tefillah or Krias Shema. By tefillah, we're going to be more machmer, since there is an opinion that says even when there's no oinus and you stop, it's just ratzin. By tefillah, you have to go back to the beginning. So even though we don't pass in that way, we only have to go back to the beginning of Shema when it said oinus, not baratzin. But since there is a sheet that it's machmer even on baratzin, a hefsek baratzin, so we're going to be more machmer with the type of, we'll say you have to go back even when it's an oinus acher that's not totally in you. It's because of the listing. By Krias, remember the first opinion we had earlier held that Krias Shema is more lenient than tefillah. That even if you have an oinus, you don't go back. So when we l'payil pass like a second opinion, and we're machmer, we treat Krias Shema like tefillah, that an oinus you have to go back, we're going to take on a more stricter view of what is considered an oinus. Because we have a machlokes, what is an oinus going to? We're going to say only in a case, when do you have to go back? Only in a case when it's a real strong oinus, that you're not roi or the makam's not roi. But when it's the oinus of listim, will be mekel. Because remember, there's a shita that holds that by Krias Shema, even by a real proper oinus, and everyone agrees it's an oinus, you don't go back. So therefore, we're not going to mechayiv you to go back in a case of an oinus listim. So halacha l'maisa, we learned the whole shakavatari here. Halacha l'maisa in Krias Shema, if you have an oinus that the oinus is something to do with you or the makim, and not roi for Krias Shema. The makim is not a place; it's a dirty diaper here. You're going in a voice mutanafis, or you're not roi. You have to make a hefsek. You have to go to the bathroom or something. In those cases, if you were mafsik, the shear that it takes to read to read Krias Shema from beginning to the ending, not majority people, takes for you, it's a hefsik, you're mufsik from the Krias Shema, and now you have to go back to the beginning, not to the place where you're waiting. But if you stopped because you wanted to read something, learn something, whatever, whether you should have done it, whether you should not have done it, you don't have to go back because it was beratzin. Don't go back because it's beratzin. Because it means that you were not torn away from Krias Shema. Base. Para Krias Shema v'nichos beis hakneses. On Matzah, see v'shakayim Krias Shema. Next page, tap a page leish chavav. Tzarech likris amahem pasuk rishon shelo yirik kilo ina writes the kabel mach shemayim l'chaveirov. The whole sibur has been kabel mach shemayim, and you stand there as like a goylem. No, you have to be with them together. Everyone's been kabel mach shemayim.
Only first pasuk.
Only pasuk rishon. V'hu adin shar davar shat sibur oimrim ketilo David. If a sibur says something together, like Tehillah David, seems like then they would say Tehillah David together. Actually. Everyone, this is now another word. It's a word of derech eretz. It's not in a Kabbalah Shemayim. It's not Shema. It's Tehillah David. But the whole community is doing something. And they're all singing it, saying it together. Whatever minig this was. And you're today.
No, any minute once.
Say Asher.
Everyone says Asher.
But it's Sfaradim say a lot of things together.
So that's what it could be means referring to. If everyone is saying it all together, and you're standing there, you came in, it's not derech eretz, you should join in with everyone.
But you have באמצע or רק בהתחלה?
No, b'hatchala.
Yeah, like there's the middle nothing.
Only the beginning, when you see them saying it. V'hu idin if beis hakneses b'oimer divrei tachnunim, oy psukim, oimer shemokim, sheshay lifsik. It's only talking about if you're saying in a mokim where you're allowed to be mafsik. Aval imhu osuk b'mokim shena shoy lifsik. You're already holding in a part of davening where you're from Baruch Shemer on. Lo yafsik. Elo yoimer hatevishu oimer b'shah shatzibah pasuk ben nigan hatzibah she'nida keilu kaireman. You can't be mafsik. You're in the middle of a pasuk of the Zimra. Only when are you allowed to be mafsik and say Shema with them if you're just in shul and you're saying Tehillim to yourself or something else. So then you join them. Otherwise, say whatever you're saying with the same niggin that the tzibur is saying it. Others say the mafsik afilu be'emsa birchas Krias Shema l'kaba ol mach shemayim. Others say no, you're mafsik. Not only you're mafsik pasuk of the Zimra, even in birchas Krias Shema. Let's say that Tzibur went ahead of you. Or you're behind. Let's say now they went ahead of you. You're behind. You're behind. And they're saying Shema. They're all saying out loud Shema. Be mafsik according to the Shita. Skip be mafsik and go back then to your bracha. V'yei shoymim. A middle Shita. Sukkah de Zimra. Yesh lahafsik. Our birchis. Shalafnei Krias Shema ein lahafsik klal. B'shul pasuk Krias Shema Krias Shema. So I have 3 shittas here. One is you're never mafsik in tefillah, only like when you're saying tehillim and other things. Other one says the other extreme, even in brachos Krias Shema mafsik. The middle shittas says only psikadizim. Le'inyan halacha l'maisa kisvara hagimul, like the third svar, which is the middle shittas. Sukkah zimre yesh lahafsik. Say the words that you're middle of reading with the same niggin that the sibur is. Someone who wants to follow that other shita, that he's mafsik in Krias, it's roy ligwa. It's not the right shita. You should tell him off. You're not supposed to do that. You're middle of Krias, and only in the middle of Pesukah Zimra, you should say Shema. So this is very important. Halacha l'maisa. You don't know, even when you're middle, many times you came late to shul, you're in the middle of Pesukah Zimra, and Sibur is reading Shema, the first pasuk you should say with them. But if you're in Brachas Krias Shema, then you should just say it with the niggin that they're saying it. Whatever words you're saying it, say it the same niggin.
אבל עלינו חייב להצטרף עם הסיבוב?
Aleinu also we say with the Sibur because the Kabbalah says
חייב, נכון?
Yeah.
The people claim Asher.
Asher also knows Krias Krishna. I mean, Aleinu know, but
I don't know. That I don't think so. I don't think you say Aleinu Asher. It's a good question. It doesn't say. It's a good shayla. I don't think so. I don't think.
Aleinu and the Tzibur was saying Shema. Mafsik was saying with the Shema.
No, the other way. Aleinu, how far do we go with the fact that, like Tehillah David, or Aleinu? Do we mafsik in middle of Sukkot Zimra? No, middle of Sukkot Zimra.
So עלינו רק בפסוקי זמרה.
Wherever you are, you say just one pasuk.
הציבור אומרים עלינו שאתה לא.
Yeah, just that first pasuk. You join with the tzibur together. Shouldn't seem like you're not taking on the Kabbalah Shema Shema. Everyone's being Makabal Shemaim together, and where are you? You're doing your own thing. So everyone, you have to do it together.
But if you're in the middle of Nishma, you can't.
Yeah. Only once you reach brachas a Krias Shema, then you're not allowed.
אומר את כל האלף?
כן.
כל האלף.
כן, ואז הוא צוחק את כל האשר.
Before you have to mafsik. The shaila is, what do you do after you mafsik? Do you have to go back to the beginning of a piece? That's a good question.
Let's say you're holding Asher Volitzion. You done it slow. And the tzibur now holding by your lane. You say with them Moleno, and then you go back to Asher Volitzion.
Yeah. We go back to where you're holding.
We're not
And
people
if what's
skip ahead.
אם אני בפסוקי בדינה, and they say אשר,
Huh?
אשר שבית מים.
Please write down
Where?
you guys skip
נניח הם
ahead.
באשר ובא לציון.
You're
No.
going behind the minion.
לא?
It's not our minhag, but what they're doing has room in Shulchan Aruch.
What?
There has makom in Shulchan Aruch. They're on Haggah, but it's not our minhag to do it. No, the Rebbe has letters negating that we don't,
לא אשר של מיליון.
because it brings a zilzul. Two things: it brings a zilzul in tefillah. People just start to skip parts, and the other thing is that a piyum mekubalim, it shouldn't change the order of davening. So even though a pi the poiskim, what they're doing is correct.
No, they're not necessarily skipping ahead. They're not skipping. They're just continuing on their way and not following the minion. It's pretty loud, so you know that they're not holding it the minion.
Maybe they're not skipping; they just skipped parts of davening. Oh, you're saying they're just saying things out loud.
Yeah.
No, only the tzibur. You're only mechuyev to the tzibur. The tzibur saying Shema. You don't have to join with any yachid who's
No, they're
not.
not joining with him. Asking is such a thing. It's a minute. Or,
What to say out loud where you're not holding the tzibur.
Yeah, but
Nah.
that means that he really doesn't want to be part of the minion, or he's a frustrated chazan.
Or he doesn't want to be.
What, you talking about the chazan or the shit? Oh, a regular individual. If someone's not with the minyan, he doesn't have to announce to everyone he's not with the minyan. Do your own thing quietly because you have a business to me, and don't be mafaisim to everyone that you're on the run. You go to the side and do what you need to do.
Not everybody does it.
Let the tzibur do what they need to do. Tzibur has to daven. You have to go somewhere because you have something important. Okay, I'm sure you have a good excuse, but that's not something to disturb the minyan.
מה זה עובר ושומע קל ושפיט אומר שאיתון?
אז אתה לוחץ.
It's only in a mocking where they have this minhag, and we don't have this minhag by Ashkenazim to say Tehillah L'David together. If you have a place that has a minhag to say it together, pasuk by pasuk, then you should say it with them. It's Adarech Eretz. But I don't see most Mekaymis have this minhag. So I don't. They say it sounds like it. Yeah, they do Tehillah L'David. They only do Tehillah L'David. The whole pasuk is in. Every word together, every pasuk.
For everything צריך לחזור להגיד.
So that's if you're getting to Ashkenazim school, you don't have to repeat with them.
No.
Okay.
The Ashkenazim, they went off the derech, you know. Okay, Gimel. Kara Krias Shema Gimel. V'nichas beis haknes as a matzah tzibur shekoyrin Krias Shema. Interesting halacha. Toiv sheyikri imam kol Krias Shema v'kabel schar kekoyre v'atoyra. Yechayiv rak v'pasuk Krias Shema v'shizbar. You came into a shul. You're not in the middle of learning something. You walk in the shul. They're saying Krias Shema. It's a good thing to read with them Shema. You're not, if you're learning now, you're saying to him, we're not going to tell you to continue doing what you're doing. Just be massive with the first pasuk. But you walk in, you're not saying anything. Say with them Shema. It's a schar. You get schar to say with them Shema. But you're not chayiv to do that. Remember in Shulchan Aruch, you have to know there's chiyuv, there's toiv, there's chayiv. It's not the same. Chayiv, you're only chayiv for pasuk rishon. Toiv, you're not busy with anything else. You just walked in. We went and talk the whole Yishma. That's interesting.
And Shachris or Meirev?
Yeah, Halachos and Meirev.
And Meirev the same thing. You have to say with the Tzibur Shema.
Yeah, yeah, same thing. There's no separate Hilchos Krias Shema from Meirev. Hilchos Krias Shema includes both.
When the guy is the Mishma and the Shno, that's what it says. And it's okay. So, no. It's not-
Now, let's learn another halacha. What we have with the Meirev? Another halacha. We have a minyan?
Yeah.
Should we go? Should we start?
One more.
One more? Simin Samach Vav. It's another simin. Maybe we should stop. It's another simin. We'll do it with Shem tomorrow.
You gotta
Next
say
week.
Shema and Shno, it's up. No, inch, second time. And so, people are not, you say, oh, so I'm allowed to stop. I don't have money, I'm not going to give you money.
That's a koyach, Rabbi.
Thank you for joining. It's always nice to have you with us.
It's a pleasure.
That's good.
You have to stop and you have to
Thank you for joining.
repeat Shmones in every situation.
Downstairs is for you.
No, only B'Ratzim.
So,
Only B'Ratzim. But there is a sheet that holds. There is a sheet that holds that you have to